You've been told the gray alien is an extraterrestrial. Large lateral eyes, dark. The orbital positioning is not human. Enlarged cranium, compressed face, smooth hairless integument, no nasal bridge, no external ears. Sensory architecture that is not mammalian. 4 reconstructions, different artists, different decades. The diagnostic does not change. That last one is not a rendering. That is ceramic, Serbia, 6,000 years before Roswell. They carved what they saw.
The Vinča culture of Serbia, 6th through 3rd millennium BCE, produced one of the most anomalous figurine corpuses in the archaeological record. Scholars have been studying these artifacts for over a century and have never resolved what they depict. But before we look at the artifacts, you need one piece of biological context. Because without it, what you're about to see won't make sense. Amphibian metamorphosis. Every frog on Earth is born as a limbless aquatic organism, a tadpole. Fully aquatic, no legs, serpentine movement. It breathes through gills. It lives in water. And then, driven by a hormonal cascade, it transforms. Limbs emerge. The tail recedes, simultaneously, driven by the same biological process. Gills are replaced by lungs. The organism that was fully aquatic becomes fully terrestrial. Same animal, radically different body plan. At 2 different points in its life cycle, you would not recognize it as the same species. Now apply that process to a sapient organism. A large-bodied, intelligent amphibian lineage that undergoes the same metamorphic transformation, but across a longer timeline, with more complex intermediate stages, and with sapience present throughout. What you get is an organism that presents with fundamentally different morphology at different points in its life. An organism that ancient observers, encountering it at different stages, in different geographic locations, across different centuries, would describe as completely different beings, and encode as completely different entities in their traditions. That is what the Vinča carvers documented. Not different beings. One organism. 4 stages of the same life cycle, carved by people who watched it develop. Now look at the artifacts. Stage 2 to 3. What you're looking at is a serpentine body, no resolved limbs. But look at the shoulders. Those small lateral protrusions are arm buds. The carver caught this organism before its forelimbs had fully emerged. The horizontal banding running the full body length is the lateral line, a sensory canal system, aquatic biology. And the head. Even here at this stage, look at the eyes. Large, lateral. The cranium is compact. The integument is smooth. The gray cranial features are already present. They don't develop at adulthood. They are constants across the entire life cycle. Stage 3. Now the cranial architecture has spread. That's the cobra hood expansion. Upper body humanoid, lower body still serpentine. And the hands? Count them. 3 fingers. Look at the artifact, then look at the reconstruction. The carver counted what they saw. Human carvers rendering hands default to 5. Artistic simplification produces 2, or 1. It does not produce 3. 3 is not a reduction of 5. 3 is a count. What the carvers saw had 3 digits. Stage 4. This one stops people. 2 lateral legs, and simultaneously, a central structure still present between them, receding. All 3 visible at once, because both processes are happening at the same time. The same biological cascade drives leg emergence and tail recession concurrently. Look at the artifact. Look at the reconstruction beside it. The Mesopotamian tradition preserved this exact stage as the apkallu, the fish apron figure. That fish apron is not a garment. It is this. The receding lower body, rendered as clothing by observers who had no vocabulary for anatomy and transition. Stage 5. Fully bipedal, formally enthroned. Now count the fingers on the artifact. 3. Count the toes. 3. Complete tridactyl identification across all 4 limbs, counted and rendered in ceramic by someone who observed 3 and carved 3. This is the adult form. And if you've ever seen a gray alien description, large lateral eyes, smooth gray integument, compact cranium, 3 elongated digits. You are looking at it. 6,000 years before Roswell. The Vinca carvers did not know about Roswell. They documented what they saw. And what they documented across 4 developmental stages is a single organism completing a metamorphic life cycle. That organism was here 6,000 years ago. It was already here. The Vinča carvers counted 3, rendered in ceramic, 6th millennium BCE. But ceramic is interpretation. What about tissue? This is a mummified hand, recovered from Peru. 3 elongated digits. Desiccated soft tissue still present across the metacarpal structure. The circular disc at the wrist junction is visible here in biological material. Anomalous in anatomy, documented without interpretation. CT scan of the same hand. 3 digits confirmed in 3-dimensional bone structure. Fully articulated, multiphalangeal. The joint architecture is present and resolved. These are not fused structures, not developmental anomalies. Functional fingers. X-ray confirms the same count, 3. The disc structure at the wrist opaque under radiation, suggesting dense material. Secondary finding, documented, pending dedicated analysis. And this is what that hand looks like with soft tissue restored. Smooth gray-white integument, visible subcutaneous vasculature. The disc structure present in the fleshed surface, 3 digits. The Vinča carvers counted 3 6,000 years ago. The physical specimen confirms 3 in bone, in tissue, in scan. Modern witnesses report 3 from direct encounter. 3 independent confirmation sources. Same count, same hand. The gray morphology is documented across 5 geographically separated cultural traditions with no contact vector between them. Not one of them assigns these beings a sky origin. India, a temple wall, 2 figures, humanoid upper bodies, serpentine lower bodies intertwined. The cobra hood cranial architecture present on both. This is the Naga pair, documented in stone across thousands of Indian temple sites. Not mythology, observation encoded in available vocabulary. Southeast Asia, bronze, humanoid upper body, fully serpentine lower body. Holding a vessel, the knowledge transmission posture documented consistently across the Naga tradition. The scaled lower body is not symbolic. It is stage 3 anatomy rendered by an observer who saw it directly. Egypt, 3 figures, all composite, humanoid upper bodies, serpentine lower bodies. The central figure bears the Egyptian solar crown. These are not monsters. These are administrative figures, documented in the same composite form, same body plan, different cultural vocabulary, independently of every other tradition in this sequence. China, humanoid upper body, serpentine lower body. The dragon tradition in its earliest encoding, before the corruption gradient pushed the morphology toward the fully scaled creature of later iconography. The composite stage 3 form, documented in Chinese stone. Mesopotamia, and here, both stages on the same seal. Far left, the Apkallu, bipedal legs already emerged, fish apron trailing behind. Stage 4, the transition already underway. Far right, 2 figures, full aquatic lower body, humanoid upper. Stage 3, the aquatic serpentine form. Earlier in the same life cycle. Same seal, same carver. 2 stages of the same organism documented side by side. This is not mythology. This is a biological field observation recorded in clay. 5 traditions. 5 independent observer populations. No contact vector between any of them. 1 body plan, 1 organism, already here. The extraterrestrial hypothesis requires explaining why 5 independent ancient civilizations documented beings from space without any reference to space, without any sky origin narrative, and with consistent association to Earth's water systems and underground domains. The Earth origin hypothesis requires no such explanation. The beings were here. The traditions documented them where they were.
This is ceramic. Serbia, 6th millennium BCE. Large lateral eyes. Cranial dominance over facial structure. Carved by someone who saw this face. This is the same face, Biological reconstruction derived from a mummified specimen recovered from Peru. Smooth gray-white integument, fine surface porosity, subcutaneous structure visible beneath the skin. The ancient Sumerians called them the Anunnaki. Sitchin said they came from Nibiru. This is what the Anunnaki actually look like. Once and for all, the Anunnaki are the greys from the water. The posterior cranial expansion, the elongated neck, the orbital depth from this angle. This is not an artist's interpretation of what an alien might look like. This is what the evidence produces when you follow it without the extraterrestrial assumption. The actual specimen, the mummified head this reconstruction is based on, is available to members of the Anunnaki Disclosure Inner Circle, AnunnakiDisclosure.com.